Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at the truth about Ascension symptoms. So the questions we want to understand here is, what exactly are Ascension symptoms? And we also want to know, should the body be having imbalanced feelings and labeling them as Ascension symptoms themselves? So let's start off with the topic of what are Ascension symptoms. And today we're going to look at this from a balanced perspective and then from an imbalanced perspective. Starting with the balanced perspective, typically when the light body goes through an evolutionary state, the ability to process energetic information becomes fluid, and the ability to integrate higher light codes doesn't actually trigger much pain and distortion when there is an organic environment. It actually creates and generates a bliss-charged love frequency as we are embodying more of the divine light, more of the divine light code. And this is supporting us to evolve our consciousness, evolve our bodies, and evolve our form. An organic ascension would still have ascension symptoms, but they would be blissful, they would be expansive, they would be in co-creation with the divine to come into awareness of higher divine information that produces really amazing feelings supportive of your growth and development. So when we are evolving in a hijacked environment, the higher light codes that are coming in that would support an organic ascension pathway, in a distorted environment, this would actually generate a distorted bioelectric feedback through your chakra system, which would then create things like brain fog. It creates things like confusion, illness in the body, nauseousness, and ultimately these are things that we need to look out for, because it's telling us that our body is out of whack, imbalanced, and unable to support the higher light codes coming in or be supported by them. So when this happens, this gives us an opportunity to start breaking out the information, to start processing the information and allowing it to regulate by dismantling any layers of artificial intelligence, networks, implants, controller consciousness that's going against the organic trajectory of expansion. Typically, when we're looking at people who have undergone hybrid race genetic lines, which pretty much everyone on the planet has, one way or another, the blending of genetics, we can look at maybe a fallen consciousness in alignment or hybridized with a light consciousness. This would be typical, that would trigger a distorted patterning when receiving higher light codes that would then present as distorted ascension symptoms. Because this fallen consciousness would be in alignment with the artificial intelligence in its grander plan to absorb life force out of the light being and pull this out and put it into their negative system, this then starts to take on and absorb their the light consciousness and feed it back into a negative structure. That negative structure would then feed back its information back into the human form or within the human genetic, which would then sit within the dimensional layers of information. As we process the information with the higher light codes or go through ascension symptoms, this would then trigger up the distorted patterning in your awareness. That typically is what it is that would create the symptom itself. And without the proper awareness of what an organic ascension symptom should look like versus one with that's triggering an inorganic structure within the form, we can't then get the full understanding as to what it's meant to look like. We need to question and ask for both sides, what is this meant to be? How is it meant to look like? What is an organic ascension pathway? And how does that feel? Understanding that is then going to be able to trigger us into understanding what the imbalances are going to look like. So then we can move forwards to be able to heal and repair these structures. So all in all, when we're looking at the illnesses presented in the body, typically these will be formulated around a schism or a miasm that sits within the light body structure that would be triggered through the higher light codes coming in to be brought up to the surface for it to be healed and repaired. Layers of this illness will also trigger into the distorted ascension symptom patterning, and it will also, with the ascension symptoms aside, it will also give us the ability to kind of process dis-ease or disease out of the body simultaneously. It presents us with the information to deal with it there and then. It's just being able to break it down bit by bit to be able to unravel the illness to allow light to flow through it much more congruently. A simple way to check if your field is trying to stabilize a piece of information or something would be understanding the emotional resonance as it's coming up, and usually the body starts to pulse, or the energy starts to pulse the information up, almost as if it's like a contraction at birth. That contraction and then expansion will start to pulse the weight of the distortion up through the chakra system, relaying the energetic information through the chakras, which is then being expanded out into your conscious awareness. As your conscious awareness is becoming aware of the emotional, energetic imbalances, this is then breaking down the information for you to process it on a conscious understanding level. So the conscious mind, the reasoning mind. So as you apply reason to this emotion and start to gather the information of it coming out, this is then allowing you to break down the information as it is being pulsed through the chakra system, pulsed through the energy system, and then you are raising it up to your conscious awareness. You're then able to break down the emotional resonance behind it and start to slot the information into a kind of, we could see this as maybe like a chronological order or a kind of a logical understanding behind what it is that you're feeling. Now, to take it that step further, we can then start to scan for any layers of artificial frequencies, artificial currents, and just start to break those down as well. When we start to understand if there's an artificial impulse within there, this automatically starts to come to the surface, and you can then register, okay, I actually see this. Self-validation leads to self-actualization because you are affirming what it is that you're seeing, and this is then changing the structure of that blockage. That gives you the ability to unravel the information, lay it out flat in front of you, take back what's organically yours, dissolve and release what is not yours or what is inorganically there, to clean a pathway to align the consciousness back into alignment with the source field. So if someone was to come to me and say they've been doing healing for years but they just don't feel like they're getting anywhere with it, what I would come to them and say is applaud yourself for trying. Firstly, you're doing a great job, because if you've been healing yourself for 5 years, something's got to be happening, because the divine will always meet you halfway. They will provide to you some level of support to what you're doing. And at the start of my healing journey, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just trying for the best. And bit by bit, the emotional weight did start to clear and my awareness did expand. And that did come with the support from the divine, because the more effort you put in, think of this as a manifesting current. You're putting in the effort and the time to learn something. You're putting in the effort to heal yourself. The divine meet you halfway with that. Now, if you are still getting stuck, this means that you are not fully getting the understanding of the mechanics of your healing work. When we don't understand the mechanics of the healing work, we don't fully heal, because we don't move beyond the mechanics of the emotions and how they impact you. So to go further into that is, if we are having this pulsation of information coming up to the surface that can make us feel wheezy or sick, study it and start to document what this is, how it's working for you, what it's making you feel like. And that could look like complete brain fog. It could make you, it could look like absolute sickness and no conscious presence. But as you document that you are creating a map of the trauma. And this creation of the map then allows you to expand your awareness of it. Once you've got it documented, it can't go away because you've seen it and you've put it down on paper. This enables you to work through these things, and it enables you to expand beyond that. So there is no limitation. There is always growth. It's just when you don't have the documentation, it feels like you're going round in loop cycles and circles forever and ever and never getting anywhere. If there were 3 things to take away from this video, it would be what Ascension symptoms really are, what do they look like as an imbalanced format, and how it could feel if they were completely balanced. 2, you are always evolving, even when it doesn't feel like you are, or it feels like you're stuck, and you are always supported by the divine to help you and assist you grow beyond. And 3, understanding the process of what it feels like to pulsate out a trauma into your awareness, and then document the feelings of this to expand beyond it, so you know this is where you were last year. Next time it comes back around, okay, I can process this so much more, and this is where I am this year. I wish you all a really wonderful day and month ahead. I'm sending you all so much love, and yeah, happy Lionsgate, guys. Bye.